Hey everyone, today we are doing a lesson on solving problems at recess and in the classroom. Hopefully this will be a really helpful lesson for you. We're going to learn about big problems and small problems. And by the end of the lesson, you will know what to do when you have a big problem. And you will hopefully have 3 new strategies, or maybe they're ones you already knew about, of ways to solve a small problem. So first, let's talk about big problems and small problems. So show me with your hand a big problem. You're gonna hold your hands out really far. And then show me with your hands a small problem. Here's a small problem. Okay, a big problem is something that is maybe scary, it's dangerous, might be illegal, against the law, or unsafe. When you have a big problem, you will always report it to a trusted adult and get adult help to solve it. Small problems are problems that you are strong enough and smart enough to solve on your own. They might be arguments, disagreements. You might get your feelings hurt with a small problem. Then there are some different feelings that you might have when you have a big problem versus a small problem. So when you have a big problem, you might feel unsafe, scared, frightened, terrified. These are kind of those red zone feelings. When you have a small problem, you might feel annoyed, bugged, bothered, a little embarrassed, maybe bored, upset, or left out, and more. Those are just a few examples. But do you see how there's even a difference about how you feel? And your feelings can sometimes help you decide if something is a big problem or a small problem. So it's good to always check in with yourself. And if you're feeling really unsafe, really scared, terrified, or frightened, maybe that's a big problem and you should report it to an adult. So here are some examples of big problems. So big problems need big help, and you need to report big problems to a trusted adult right away. Some examples might be throwing rocks. That could really hurt someone. Any type of hitting or kicking. If somebody is hurt, if you see someone stealing, because that is against the law, illegal, that's not okay. Running into the street. Maybe you've seen this with if you have a little brother or sister or a sibling that or you're in the parking lot and you see them starting to run off, you would want to go get an adult right away and make sure that they are safe. So anything that is being unsafe, that would be a big problem. And here's a little reminder at the bottom that a small problem can turn into a big problem. So if you try 2 strategies or 2 ways to try to solve a small problem and you still can't get it to stop, then it might turn into a big problem. And that's when you can go and get an adult. So I'm curious, how do big problems make you feel? So I wonder, how do big problems make you feel? I'm going to have your teacher pause the video here and talk about how a big problem might make you feel. Okay, here are some examples. Maybe you said unsafe, scared, frightened, terrified, alarmed, bullied, threatened, nervous, anxious, or panicked. Those are some of the feeling words you might have said. So let's talk about small problems. With a small problem, you always want to try 2 strategies on your own before telling an adult. And remember that you are strong enough and smart enough to solve small problems. If you tell an adult about a small problem, before trying 2 ways to solve it on your own, that could be called tattling. And tattling is when you are telling an adult something to just try to get somebody in trouble. So there's a difference between tattling and reporting. Okay, so here are some examples of small problems. It might be that somebody keeps changing the rules at a game at recess. Another small problem could be someone taking your pencil without asking. Maybe you and your friend want to play different things at recess. Someone is making noises during work time, or not sharing. You can do the agree signal if you have had one of those small problems before. Right. And maybe if you want to pause the video and give some more examples of small problems that you have had, maybe at school, in the classroom, at recess, or at home. And you can share these without using any names. And I'm curious, how do small problems make you feel? I'm going to have your teacher pause the video here and you can talk about some small problem feelings. Okay, did you say annoyed, bugged, bothered, embarrassed, bored, upset, left out, and more? You might have said angry, sad, so many different feelings. Okay, so solving small problems. Remember that you want to try 2 strategies before you go to an adult for help. So our first one is tell them to stop. So when you tell somebody to stop, you want to turn your body to them, and in a strong, assertive voice, you tell them to please stop. And you want to make sure that you're saying it loud enough so that they can hear you. And there's a way to do it in still a kind way that lets them know that you're serious and you want them to stop. Another strategy is to walk away. This one, maybe you're at recess and something happens that annoys you. Maybe you will walk away. Maybe you'll go do something else or take some deep breaths. If you're in the classroom, maybe your class has a place where you can go to get calm. If you need to walk away from a situation, you can take some deep breaths in a place or use a fidget and take a couple seconds to yourself to take care of yourself. And our last one is ignore it. And this one's one of my favorites. So this one, you're just going to ignore the small problem. Sometimes it's really hard to ignore it though. So if you're ignoring it and the person still isn't stopping or the problem isn't going away, then maybe you need to tell them to stop or try a different strategy. But remember, you're going to try 2 strategies first on your own because you are strong enough and smart enough to solve these problems on your own. So I challenge you to try one of these strategies this week when you have a small problem. And I'm so curious to see how it works for you. And next week, we are going to learn some more strategies. And I can't wait to hear from you. What are some of your favorite strategies that you use to solve small problems? Thank you.